Joining me now is the journalist Ahmed Eldin. Ahmed, welcome to you. Civilians finally being let into Egypt. Many Palestinians, however, don't trust that they'll be allowed back in if they leave. What's your assessment of what is happening there and whether you think those people will leave or stay?
Well, thanks for having me. But first, let's be clear. I'm not here to speak on behalf of all Palestinians. I wish you could bring on a voice from Gaza. But aside from the new blackout on communications and the relentless bombardment and the entire residential buildings that we've seen demolished in the Jabalia refugee camp attack and the hundreds of people being killed, they're fighting to survive. So it's unfortunate they can't be here instead of me. To answer your question, I think what we're witnessing is what the UN called this, which is a humanitarian catastrophe. They described the people in Gaza as living in hell. And quite frankly, Ian, if I may, when you introduced your previous guest, the ex-officer from Israel's military, you said nothing can overshadow those terrorist attacks by Hamas, that I think we can all agree on that. So for me, that's quite strange to be mentioned. I mean, you know, almost 9,000 human beings have lost their lives because of Israel's attacks. Women, children, and the elderly make up 73% of those killed by Israeli bombardments in Gaza. To me, that certainly does overshadow what happened on October 7th. But to keep it to your question, I mean, the collective punishment of millions of people, as we've seen, forcing people to head south and then bombing convoys, bombing hospitals, bombing schools, bombing ambulances.
The Israelis, of course, say that they never intentionally target any of those areas.
And you believe that? You don't think that's laughable if it's not obscenely offensive?
Would you not think it'd be kind of strange that they would just set out to bomb a hospital or an aid wagon? That would be curious.
They have been doing this for years. And I just want to say, it is not only illegal to attack hospitals according to international law, which is explicit, and also says that one massacre, one attack, one war crime, which happened on October 7th to Israel, does not justify another war crime. But to answer your question about hospitals, I mean, 45 minutes ago, they struck another hospital. They hit a maternity ward, a hospital filled with women and medical staff in Gaza City. The maternity ward used to be at Gaza's main Al-Shifa hospital, but it was bombarded. So they moved that ward to another hospital, which was now attacked just 45 minutes before.
But it is said very regularly, you will be familiar with this, that is precisely where Hamas will have either hubs or headquarters. They'll be underground, they'll be around hospitals, refugee camps. What is your, I'm merely asking the question, what is your take on that?
Ian, my take is that that is a lie. And the fact that you would say it is being said and without any evidence is a dereliction of duty as journalists.
Well, it is because our previous guest said it.
Excuse me?
Our previous guest literally made that point.
Yeah, he said it, and they have no evidence.
Well, I'm asking you for your response to that.
All right, well,
we are talking about a terrorist organisation here. I mean, these are not, you know, cuddly, happy, shiny, lovely people. The idea that they might embed themselves in a place where they think they're slightly safer isn't beyond the realms of possibility, surely, Ahmed.
Ian, realms of possibility is not what I'm here to discuss. I'm here as a journalist to discuss the facts on the ground. So if
you would understand that question.
If you would just give me 1 minute to answer your question.
Please do so.
Israel has killed 31 journalists since the war began. They've killed 70 UN staff members and are preventing the UN from entering the country to investigate the countless war crimes to verify the facts on the ground. Now imagine for a second any other government in the world had done that. What would be the reaction? Would you be referencing what an ex-officer said with absolutely no proof? And if I may just say, the idea that Hamas uses hospitals has been debunked for decades, and yet here we are talking about it. You and I...
Well, you say it's been debunked, other people say it's not debunked, and it's true, and that's the position we find ourselves in.
If I may finish my point, Ian, the last time I was on your program was to discuss the Baptist hospital bombing. We spent a lot of time discussing it. You know, Biden said it was the other team, it was a misfire. And yet here we are, they're bombing more hospitals. And yet somehow the burden of proof is maybe there's these allegations that Hamas is hiding. Do you know that there are hundreds of doctors, many of them foreign nationals from Britain, Norway, and many other countries, Matt Gilbert, who have worked in these hospitals, and they have never once said that they've been told to avoid areas or that they've ever come across any Hamas officials hiding in the hospitals or underneath these hospitals. And I don't understand how I can relay actual facts with proof that have been documented, and we dismiss them in this conversation and in other forums. And yet we're expected to engage and entertain propaganda that's peddled with absolutely no evidence.
I think, listen, I'm happy, certainly happy for you, Ahmed. This is about free speech, and whether people agree or disagree, I'm certainly happy for you to make that point, and I understand that is something you feel very strongly about, because many people would say, look, hang on, why are we believing a terrorist organisation, for goodness sake? I think that would be a reasonable conclusion that some people would extrapolate from all of this.
Is the UN a terrorist organization?
10 seconds, we can. 10 seconds.
Is the UN a terrorist organization, or you don't believe the UN, much like the Israeli?
I'm merely posing that scenario to you. Listen, Ahmed, we will speak again, I hope.
You are attributing it to Hamas, and you're calling them a terrorist organization. I am saying that the United Nations...
They are a terrorist organization. I can't change that.
I know. And I am saying it's not Hamas who's claiming this. It's British surgeons, it's the United Nations, it's multiple human rights organizations, including from Israel, including from the UK. I mean, come on, Ian.
Ahmed, we stop there for no other reason than time. Thank you. We will talk again. Ahmed Eldin with us on the programme.